What up? What up? What up? Want to do a quick live on talking about how to master self motivation and fuel your ambitions to reach your goals. What up, everybody that is tuning in on LinkedIn? Share with people. All right, pardon my delay. So yeah, just want to talk about how to actually just master self motivation. So really, what is self motivation? Self motivation is really the inherent drive that's within us. It's kind of like born from our passions, born from our interests, born from our personal satisfactions, the things that actually gives us joy for no other reason other than just it provides joy. It just gives us a sense of satisfaction. It just makes us feel good to do it. We would do it regardless of whether we're getting paid to do it. We would do it regardless of whether we're receiving some form of recognition. We would just do it again just because it warms our heart. It's not reliant upon anything external. It's not relying upon because we're about to get validation from the outside. It's not relying upon because we're about to get a reward or we're about to get some type of pat on our back or money or paycheck or whatever it is. We're doing something strictly because it's something within you that feels that's pulling you basically to do it. It's something in you that feels called to actually do these things. They refer to them as inclinations. Inclinations are things in which we don't choose that we actually like, but for some reason we're just kind of like drawn to it. We just seem pulled to these particular things for some reason. And those things can be tied to keeping us actually motivated. But sometimes as we get older, we tend to lose focus and lose track of all those things that burn our passion, that really, really get us interested, and that really provide us satisfaction. And we kind of get into the mundane habit of just kind of working to pay bills or just fulfilling our responsibility as parents or spouses or whatever it actually is. But if we're feeling burnt out, if we're struggling with actually motivating ourselves, a lot of what we got to do is get back to those feelings of what used to bring me passion. What am I interested in? What used to give me the greatest things of satisfaction? Because there's a difference between intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation. So, what intrinsic motivation is being pulled by something. Extrinsic motivation is pushing yourself to actually do something because of external factors, something that is on the outside. We do good in school so we can actually get good grades, so we can get an A. We do good in school so our parents could actually reward us. We do good in school so we can actually go off to go to college. We do good in school so we could get a good job and be able to take care of ourselves. Those things are externally motivated. So that's is extrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation are the things that we do solely for ourselves. Jim Rohn always says that the direction in life must be our own, otherwise, it could be damaging. Most importantly, it will be damaging to our spirit. And that's because most of us lack intrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation is rooted in our personal passions, our values, and it's what's connected to our long lasting drives and our long lasting motivations and our long lasting success. Um, you can always tell when something is extrinsically motivated. When an NBA player or a professional athlete gets their first big contract, and next thing you know, the work ethic seems to kind of go down a little bit, and they don't perform like they used to perform, or they don't got that level of dog in them that they used to have. It's because they were extrinsically motivated. They were motivated to get the actual money, to get the lifestyle. And the moment it hit, the external factor, once they got the reward, then the drive, the motivation to continue to work hard went away. That's how a lot of us are when we actually, because we're externally driven, we're extrinsically motivated, as opposed to somebody like a Michael Jordan or somebody that was like a Kobe Bryant that wanted to literally just get better for the sake of them getting better. Michael Jordan used to say, everybody is trying to compete with who I was. That's why they can never keep up. I'm trying to compete with who I can be. I'm trying to beat who I was yesterday. I'm trying to just compete with, you know what I'm saying, what is the best possibility within me. I'm not thinking about trying to be better than another man. I'm trying to be better than me. That's intrinsic motivation. That is just something within you that just wants to do it. It don't matter whether you're getting praise for it. It don't matter whether you're getting rewards from it. Now, it's not saying that rewards won't come as a byproduct of being intrinsically motivated. We see this all the time. This is when people who accumulate a mass fortune and they always say it's not about the money. The money wasn't the main thing. The money wasn't all that important. It's because the money was really a byproduct of the work that they actually did. But what drove them to actually do their work was staying intrinsically motivated. It's something in them that is pulling them to actually do this, as opposed to something on the outside that is pushing them to do it. So we want to be mindful. Am I being intrinsically motivated? Am I being extrinsically motivated? And if we're honest, most of us are extrinsically motivated. We do things because society tells us we're supposed to be doing these things. We do things because our parents tells us we're supposed to be doing these things. We do things because to fit in and to feel a sense of belonging. Our friendships, our friend groups, our peer groups are doing these things. Our coworkers are doing these things. And so that is what we just feel like we're supposed to be doing, but we got to listen to the voice within. Otherwise, we'll never really have that long lasting motivation and we'll keep experiencing a sense of burnout. So, then what kind of affects the difference between our intrinsic and our external motivation? We kind of talked a little bit about it before. When it comes to intrinsic motivation, is rooted in our personal satisfactions, our interests, and our curiosity, the things in which, again, we are naturally drawn to. Because that's the thing about curiosity. Curiosity isn't something on the outside that's telling you to have interest in it. It's something about that kind of just sparks interest from within, and you just find yourself just being drawn to this thing, or being this thing, you just find it like alluring for some type of reason. That's why those things provide long-term motivation. That is when Steve Jobs said you have to have the heart and courage to follow your intuition, because somehow it truly knows what you want to become. That's the intrinsic motivation. But the trick with following intrinsic motivation is that it requires us to have to walk by faith and not by sight, and that is a difficult thing to do, because we live in a society where we need to be certain. So our parents tell us, you go to school because that's the certain route for you to be okay. You know, you take care of yourself because that's the certain thing. We ain't really trying to gamble in this particular life. So we want to do the certain thing, and the certain thing is to follow the path that's already laid out, and not to just venture off and create your own trail. And so that's why we get punished for, or not necessarily punished, but at a young age, that intrinsic motivation, trying to listen to our own voice, gets muted, and we just follow the crowd that's around us. But we got to learn how to turn that volume back up for our intrinsic motivation, and be able to silence the noise when it comes to our extrinsic motivation. Now, with some things that's affecting our extrinsic motivation: money, recognition, validation. Sorry for my people that's on IG. I'm on live on LinkedIn. That's why my focus is up here on my computer and everything. So if you do got a question, put it in the chat, and if I see it, then I will definitely get to it. But I appreciate you all tuning in on IG. So some things that's affecting our external motivation, our extrinsic motivation, it is money and recognition. It is the simple fact that for our paycheck, we get up and we will get motivated because the bills is due. We'll do what we got to do. We'll get up and we'll actually work because we got to actually fulfill our responsibilities for our family. We'll get up and we'll get, but that's also why we'll do more for other people than we'll do for ourselves, because most people are externally motivated. We're not intrinsically motivated. So the issue is that it doesn't really offer long-term satisfaction. And that's why I brought up the athlete situation when it comes to extrinsic motivation, because as soon as they get that $100 million contract, next thing you know, they're not working as much as they used to. They're not putting in the same amount of hours to keep progressing and keep perfecting their craft, because it was extrinsically motivated. They wanted a lifestyle, they wanted the money, they wanted to be able to relax in comfort, they wanted leisure, be able to take care of their family, all of these things that are external. So therefore, as soon as they got it, now the motivation to continue to get better, to continue to progress, to continue to press on, it actually drops down. Same thing with people that actually retire. They said on average, when a person retires, the average person who retires only lives around 6 years after retirement. It's because they don't have anything intrinsically to keep them going. And what has kept them going throughout their whole life is external things. Let me get up and work this job. It gives them meaning. This is why a lot of men tend to attach their meaning to their job, to the work that they actually do. And when they lose their job, they start to feel worthless because their identity is wrapped up in what they do. external stuff, as opposed to being able to have an identity for yourself that's separated from a paycheck or separated from some type of recognition, and it's who just you are. But we're not taught to be conditioned, or not conditioned, we're not taught to be authentic. We don't have a lot of, or we didn't when we were younger, have a lot of role models of being authentic, because people are trying to survive. And when you're in survival mode, it's not being authentic, unfortunately, is a luxury that we can do when we are not in survival mode. You got to be out of survival mode to even be focused on being authentic. So most of us, we just, especially kids, we were trained to be seen and not heard. So you're not speaking about things that you want to do for yourself. You got to fall in line. And unfortunately, this is why the Bible says, train a child in the way that they should go, and when they're older, they won't depart. So, how kids have been trained is to be seen and not heard. And unfortunately, we just turn into adults who are seen and not heard. And which means we are just externally motivated, extrinsically motivated, and our intrinsic motivation, that voice is so silent, we don't even know how to hear it anymore. But we've got to be mindful of that. So, what's some environmental influences? Well, our surroundings. Our surroundings plays a huge factor. Are they conducive to enhance our motivation, or is it an environment that's actually going to lessen our motivation? Do our environments contain a lot of noise where it's hard for us to focus and we're constantly getting frustrated with people? Do our environments contain a lot of confrontation? So therefore, our home is no longer a place of recharge, but it's a place of just combat. That's one of the most difficult challenges that people face, is because outside of the home, they got to fight for their dreams. They got to fight for survival. They got to fight for their family to just make ends meet, because most people are in survival mode. And then you come home and you got to fight some more. And that can cause your motivation to just be crippled. That can cause you to just really just detach and really not have no type of motivation, because one of the best ways to eliminate motivation is too much stress. A little bit of stress can actually enhance your motivation, but when the stress is too intense and when it's too prolonged, it actually has the reversed effect of motivating. And it actually, and you see this in kids, where um when an intense adult speak, the kid immediately goes in like that, because that's what stress does. Stress causes you to want to contract and actually go within. And that's what we do as adults too. So we got to be mindful of the environments that we're in. We got to have an environment that is conducive of us to actually stay motivated. So minimizing conflict. I always tell people your home needs to be like your phone charger. When you put your phone on the charger, it's supposed to make your battery go up. It's supposed to recharge you. It's not supposed to drain your energy. That's how you know either the battery or the charger is malfunctioning. When you plug your phone up to the charger and the battery start going down, you like, what the heck? Like, that's not the proper function of it. So something is malfunctioning in it. And that's how we got to think about when it comes to our home. Our home is supposed to be a place where we actually recharge. The world is when we actually use the battery of it. But when in our home, we're supposed to actually go up in percentage. So I come home and I'm at 20%. I shouldn't, when I leave the crib now, I'm at 5. I should always be more filled up in my home. And it's not saying it's your spouse's job to fill you up, but it's just saying your home should be a place of just peace. And so the reason why we're bringing this up is because environment plays a huge factor in our motivation. It's hard for us to actually stay motivated when we're in a stressful environment. So noise, clutter, all of these things plays a huge factor. And so we got to stay away from certain type of personalities, because it's this thing called crabs in a barrel. So crabs in a barrel, it's an interesting phenomenon. How you actually trap crabs is you put a little crab feed down there, and then one crab is going to come eat, and then other crabs are going to see that a crab is eating, and then they're all going to just kind of pile in there. So then you get all these crabs inside this barrel. Now the issue is, once all the crab food is gone, then they're going to be like, okay, there's no point in us trying to be in here. So let's try to get up out this thing. And when you actually start to crawl up out as a crab, the crabs will keep knocking you off the side, keep knocking you off the side. So you keep trying to climb, you almost out. They're going to knock you down, knock you down. And if you keep persisting, the crabs will actually break off the claw of the crab that's keep trying to climb out. So now that crab can't even claw can't even crawl at all no more, and it's just stuck. And while humans, we mirror that. We won't necessarily physically break people's legs and arms to stop them from leaving, but we'll do it as far as breaking people's spirits. Being sarcastic, being cynical, being doubtful, being just negative Nancy's and sour Steves and all these other all those things um can weigh on your motivation. And we've all had experiences where we've been super excited, man, about something, man. We was geeked, and then we go and we talk to somebody about it. And it wasn't even that they said something negative. It was just more so just nonverbals, just their body language just said something. And it was just we felt our motivation go from up here to down here. And it's about because who we are involved with matters. I don't care how motivated you are. If you're constantly around negative people, it's only so long before your motivation is going to drop. The thing about peer groups is because human are associative beings, the thing about us is that either we are going to fall to the level of our peer groups or we're going to rise to the level of it. And unfortunately, most of the time we fall to the level of it. It takes an incredibly strong human being to be able to raise the tide of the group. That's why they say a rising tide elevates all ships. Most people can deceive themselves into thinking that they are a rising tide and that they can just, you know, elevate the standards of everybody that's around them, but they are deceiving themselves. Most people, when you go into an environment, if you go around five people who are not motivated and you are super motivated and you think that you about to just change them and they not about to change you, you are greatly mistaken. It is a greater chance that their habits are going to rub off on you than your habits are going to rub off on them. And some of their habits is going to rub off on you, but you are more outnumbered. So more of them is going to rub off on you than you are rubbing off on them. And so your environment matters because before you know it, your light can just be dimmed out. Your fuel can just be gone. And at one point in time, you could have been on fire. You just thinking that like everything is possible. And now you just over there super doubting yourself and feel like you walking on eggshells. This is why Jesus in the Bible, when he was performing miracles, he said, while I am performing healing on you, stay away from anybody who is a disbeliever because all the belief that I'm instilling in you can be wiped out with a little bit of doubt. So you want to stay away from people that are cynical. You want to stay away from people that are negative. You want to stay away from people that are doubtful. You want to stay away from people that are walking by sight and not by faith, or walking by fear and not by faith. Because a little bit of doubt can cause you to sink. When Jesus was talking to Peter, he told him to get out the boat and to walk on water. The moment Peter started to look down, that's when he started to sink because he started to focus on doubt instead of focusing on faith. And so the people that's around us, unfortunately, they can rub off on us because they can affect our belief system. They can affect our standards. They can affect our values. They can tell you when you grinding and putting in the work so you can actually make your dreams come true. They can tell you you're doing too much. And next thing you know, you over there sitting back like, damn, am I really doing too much? Maybe I shouldn't go this hard. Maybe I should be content with where I'm at. That's that crabs in the barrel. They want to keep, they knocking you down. And this is what they do. And again, it's not like a violent thing that people do, but they only do this because they fear losing you. Because the hardest thing for people to deal with is watching this person that came from the same circumstances that I came from. At one point in time, we used to be in the same position in life. And I watched this person be motivated enough to change their circumstances. And now I'm still sitting here and I can't use the excuses on why I'm still in the same position no more. I can't use that excuse once I seen a person that used to be sitting right in the same position with me now that they're in a completely different position and I watch them change their circumstances. That's the hardest thing for people to actually live with. So before that actually happens, when they can see that that's in the realm of possibility, they're going to knock you off the wall so they can keep you where you at. So that's why environment is so important. So some other challenges when it comes to self-motivation, mental fatigue. We can get into like decision fatigue where just like every decision seems to like drain our energy. Like where we just don't even want to make decisions anymore. And we just kind of just like want to just stay away from everything. That's some challenges when it comes to keeping ourselves motivated. Because sometimes people just don't even want to make the decisions. But that's why I also tell you to, I'm a fan of the DIS assessment. Everybody should do a DIS assessment. And not only should you do a DIS assessment, but you should do one with somebody who is licensed and certified that can give you the actual reading back to you so they can make it make sense. I went to Ball State University and they did a DIS assessment on us, but then they just emailed us the damn results and was just like, we had to make sense of that stuff ourselves. And I didn't know what the hell that meant. I knew the letters, but I didn't know what. But as later on in life, when I actually went through with somebody that was certified and actually did an hour breakdown on my particular results and made it make sense to me, game changer, game changer. And it just lets you know your different personality types. So you got D, you got the I, you got the S, and you got the C. And I'm actually certified in the DIS as well because it was such a game changer in my life. Um, but you got the D, the I, the S, and the C. And so the D is like your willingness to engage in like challenges and all that stuff like that. So that's the decision making. So if you are getting fatigued a lot of times when it comes to making these decisions, you're probably low on a D. And it doesn't mean being low or high on any number doesn't mean anything bad. It just lets you know your natural skill sets and who you need to actually place around you to actually thrive and the environments that you actually need to put yourself in to actually thrive. So that just means that if you experience a lot of this decision fatigue, you need to associate with somebody who is very comfortable in making those decisions, but who's also aligned with you and who has your best interest at heart. That immediately takes away all the mental fatigue because you are aligned with somebody that complements you. So that's some of the challenges, and that's a solution as far as how to remedy that. Then you got the emotional burnout. This is like prolonged stress. It can lead to feelings of just exhaustion, reduced as far as our efficacy. Um, but a lot of times this happens because we are pouring into our other cups. We are pouring into other people's cups and not necessarily pouring into our own. So we lose or we feel the sense of burnout because, our top priority is our job. Our top priority is our family. And it's not to say that they are not priorities, but if they are the top priorities, it's only going to be a matter of time before you burn out because I don't care how big your cup is. Every cup, regardless of how big it is, it only can fit a certain amount of liquid in it. So if you keep pouring out to everything that's outside of yourself and you're never figuring out time to actually keep recharging or filling ways to refill this particular cup, you're going to experience burnout. You're going to experience it. Willpower is a limited resource. It's like gas in a car. So I don't care how big your gas tank is. I don't care how efficient your car is on gas. Every full tank can only go a certain amount of places before it stalls, before it shuts down. Every day we get a fresh tank of willpower. But the issue is that we are all limited on willpower. We do not have just an unlimited supply of willpower. And our willpower is used every time we are either resisting doing something or every time we feel like we got to push ourselves to actually do something. So if we are constantly feeling like we got to push ourselves to do something, which we do, first thing y'all do is what? When y'all wake up, go to work, and you feel like you got to push yourself to do that because 90% of the people don't love what they do, don't even like what they do. So they damn near complaining, cussing, all types of stuff when they actually get up. All that is draining your willpower, believe it or not. Then you get to work and you resisting getting on social media. You resisting snapping on that customer that says something rude to you. You resisting snapping on your coworker. You resisting walking out on your job because you like today ain't the day. I ain't dealing with all these things are constantly depleting your willpower. So therefore, you experience burnout when you try to will yourself to do something and you ain't got no more in your tank because you done depleted your willpower all day with everything outside of yourself. That's why the hour of power is so important. That's why I always tell my clients, look, people be like, yo, why are you up so early every morning? Because I pour into myself before I go out and do everything. Now I work for myself, but before I work for myself, even this, I've been doing this thing there since college. I would get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, do everything for me. And then people would just see me dang there chilling all day. They'd be like, man, every time I see you, you chilling. Well, nigga, I've been up since 4 and I've been just grinding like crazy, being consistent, being productive, pouring into me, doing my meditation, going to the gym, reading, right? Doing everything that I got to do as far as my self-care that fills my cup. So therefore, when everybody else sees me, they like, oh, you chilling. Well, you don't get up until 10 o'clock. So by 10, I didn't already get 6 hours of like productive work and for myself. So now, since I didn't fill my own cup up, it's easy for me to just go out and pour. And that's what I always tell my clients is time shift yourself. Make sure that the first thing you're doing in the morning is pouring into your own cup. That is one way to keep yourself highly motivated, because what leads to burnout is your top priority, and your family definitely always needs to be a priority. But again, you're going to burn out if you don't got anything left in your cup to pour. So if everything you've been pouring and now you ain't got nothing in your cup, you'll find yourself getting irritated quickly with your spouse. You'll find yourself getting irritated quickly with your children. You're finding yourself getting irritated with your clients at work, or your coworkers at work, or just random people, or just random strangers. Find yourself getting road rage and all these other things. But it's strictly because your cup is empty. So getting up at like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, having a morning routine where you're just filling yourself up, where you're feeding your body, where you're feeding your mind, and you're conditioning your body, getting your body stronger every single day, some type of exercise, getting your mind stronger every single day, learning some type of new information, but then also doing some type of spiritual development where you're getting your spirit developed every single day as well. And you'll notice by doing that particular habit that burnout will start to be a thing of the past, that you won't necessarily feel like you got to will yourself to do something. And then also being purpose driven. So the more things that you can frame in, if you're framing the situation in your mind that you got to do this, willpower is going to be activated. And remember, willpower is limited. So you want to monitor how you're framing situations in your mind, because it's the frame that's going to create the focus, and the focus is going to determine whether it's willpower or whether it's not. Remember, push versus pull. If you feel like you're pushing yourself to do something, all of that's going to take willpower. What you want to do is activate the pull. So, get to versus got to. I get to do this, not I got to do this. If I got to do this, then that's the willpower. And remember, my willpower is going to be limited. So, I always want to be like, I get to do this. Why is what I'm doing a blessing, even if I don't want to do it? Even if it's causing me frustration, even if I don't like what I actually got to do, but it's something I got to do, then it's framing it. Why is it a blessing that I get to do this? Why is this a blessing? And the more empowering meanings you can find as far as why this is a blessing, the less willpower you're actually using. This is the difference between work and play. If you're viewing something as work, it is willpower. If you're viewing something as play, it's you're being pulled to actually do it. This is like people that love their work. It's like it doesn't seem like it's enough time in a day. But people who don't love what they do, boy, they be grinding like a mug, and then they look at the clock and they be like, "Dang, only 4 minutes went by." Oh man, this shift gonna be all day, because it's about how you look at it. So if you're looking at the situation like it's a drag, then it's going to be willpower, and you're going to experience burnout. But if you can find the blessing in the particular situation, the time actually fly. It's an interesting phenomenon. So some strategies that we can actually use. Uh, Smart goals. Most people, this is why King Solomon says, without a vision, people perish. Gratitude breeds and creates more gratitude. Facts. Facts. I definitely appreciate that comment. Facts, brother. Smart goals. So King Solomon says, without a vision, people perish. So we want to make sure, if we are struggling with motivation, what goal are we actually reaching to? Are we focused on something that's above and beyond our day-to-day struggles, our day-to-day worries? Or are we just focused solely on our problems, our struggles, what's not going right, what's going wrong? When we're learning to drive sports vehicles and everything like that, the main thing that they teach you is when you lose control of the vehicle for whatever reason, you want to focus on where you want to go. Don't focus on the wall. Don't focus on the pole. Focus on where you want to go. And a lot of times we don't do that in our own life. We tend to be focused on the wall. We're in financial struggle, so we're just gonna keep looking at our bank account, keep looking at the negative, keep looking at them bills, keep looking at them bills, and then we're gonna crash right into bankruptcy, crash right into financial ruin, because that's all we're looking at. On another term, we're walking by sight and not by faith, or walking by fear and not by faith, because we let external circumstance dictate what's actually going on in internal. But this is why King Solomon said people without a vision will perish, because we need something that's above our day to day struggles, our day to day challenges. We need something that is going to keep us driven, that's going to keep us excited, because without a compelling vision for the future, then we're forced to keep reliving our painful memories from the past. We get up and we think about the issues that we're just facing. We're just thinking about just the problems. And then we just keep repeating these problems over and over again, or keep rehearsing them in our mind over and over again. And that's what happens if we don't got a compelling vision as far as where we're aiming, because our current circumstances is not the most important thing. The most important thing is the size and the qualities of the current goals that you're currently focused on right now, the vision that you actually have. So SMART goals. SMART goals, the first one is specific. So that's what the S stands for. SMART. It's an acronym. SMART. The first S is specific. So you want clearly defined outcome. We want to know what we're actually aiming at. What is the outcome that we seek? So they say, think about it. If you're in the middle of a jump, the only thing you need to be focused on is where you want to land. That's the only thing you want to be focused on when you're in the middle of a jump, is where you want to land. And for the most part, when you start asking people what they want in life, the number one thing they're going to start, the first thing that's going to come out of their mouth is what they don't want. People can tell you more about what they don't want than they can tell you about what they actually want. And so what we got to start doing is getting clearer on what we want. What is the clear, defined outcome that we desire? And then we got to do a better job of keeping our mind focused on the things that we desire and keep our mind off of the things that we don't desire. It doesn't matter what's going on externally. Minister Farrakhan said, I trouble the world doesn't trouble me. That's basically saying that regardless of what's happening in the world, that's not about to affect what's going on inside my mind or what's going on inside my heart. But I can say some stuff and I'm about to live rent free up in everybody else's heads. That's kind of like what the motto that we want to have. So we want to have a clear vision. The second thing, not only can it be a clear outcome that we're facing, but we want to actually make it measurable. We want to be able to quantify the results. We got to be able to measure it, because what gets measured actually gets improved. And if we can't measure it, then we can't actually track how we're actually getting better. So one thing that I'm measuring every day is a list of reflective questions that I ask myself every single night. Start off with just asking, today, did I set clear goals? Alrighty, yes, I set clear goals. Alrighty, well, how well did I actually implement those goals? Okay, then I put on a scale of 1 to 10, I say that. Alrighty, did I say something nice and loving to my mother today? Did I teach something new to my son today? I ask myself these questions every single day, and I'm tracking how well I did on a scale of 1 to 10. And the thing about measuring it, it was like a 7 day stretch where it asked me, one of the questions is, did I express gratitude today, whether it be a large or small? And for like 7 days in a row, I was like, nope, 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 nope. But keeping track on it, it let me be intentional about, like, yo, I need to be intentional about being grateful. So the fact that I was able to measure it, it lets me know, okay, in this particular area, I need to actually be intentional about making sure I get a 10 in this area, because I'm very intentional about teaching my son stuff. So I always get 10s in that area. I'm very intentional, about setting goals. So I'm getting 10s in that area. I'm very intentional about trying to mind my tongue. So I'm not trying to say disparaging comments to people and all that. So I'm getting to, but in this particular area, I'm not doing good in. So I got to make sure I address it. But if I wasn't tracking that, I wouldn't have necessarily known that that was an area that I need to improve on. So it's not good enough just to be able to have a clearly defined outcome that we want to reach. We got to be able to have measurable results. We got to be able to measure it so we can track it, so we can know where we're at. Like a rocket is off course 99% of its journey, but it lands where it needs to land roughly 100% of the time, because it's able to track where it's at and constantly course correct based upon the input that it's getting. Then this we got to make sure it's achievable. That's the A. That's it's within our reach. So certain people, you know, ain't never made, $10,000 in a month, and they be like, I want to make $1 million a month. I want to make 1 million. It's just like, fam, okay, it got to be achievable. And it's not saying that that's not achievable, but based upon your current self-image and what you've produced in your own life, that's not achievable. We need to set a goal in which that's achievable for you. So let's just say through your job, you didn't made, I don't know, $4,000 a month. You make $1,000 a week. Okay, so the goal is, let's see if we can make $5,000 a week. So you make $4,000 a month from your job. Let's see within that month on your side you can make extra $1,000. So now the goal is $5,000 a month. So you already got an income source of 4,000. Now you're just trying to figure out how can I get that to five. What can I do on the side to just bring in another $1,000? So now I'm at 5,000. It's achievable. Then once you achieve that, okay, now let's stretch that out to seven or 7.5 or 10. Let's see. And you keep stretching it out like that. And that's what it's actually saying when it's saying achievable. It's not saying, because you're still the same person. So if ultimately you keep taking this step by step, and okay, I got it to 7,500. Now I'm going for 10,000 this month. All right, I got 10,000. Now I'm about to go for 15,000. Oh, I got 15,000. Now I'm going to 20. Oh, I got for 20. Let me just go for 40. Oh, I got 40. Let me go for 100. Oh, I got 100. So you're still the same person, regardless of what level you end up getting to. So it's still achievable because you're always the same person, but it's just about the steps in which that you are on. You want to make sure that it's within your grasp, but if it is just too far up, you'll always be shooting for the stars, and it will just be kind of, the Bible says that a man who works his land will have abundance, but if you chase fantasies, you're going to come to ruin, you're going to come to poverty. So working your land is setting achievable goals, setting those big, lofty things in which you ain't never even been close of the realm of possibility of achieving. That's chasing fantasies. We want to make sure we avoid that. Then it got to be irrelevant. It got to be relevant. So it got to basically, it got to align with your life goals. So one of the main things that limits people when they're endeavoring to set a goal or try to achieve something is, so it's called a belief system. It's not a belief that either propels us to greatness or holds us back. It's a system of them. It's multiple beliefs that kind of work together. These things travel in packs. So the first one is, how well do you desire it? On a scale of 1 to 10, this thing that you saying you desire, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you desire it? 10, look, man, I want as bad as I want to breathe. 0 or 1, I don't really desire it. That, you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't even care whether I got it or not. Like, so if it's not a 10, if it's not a higher enough number on there, you're not even about to just be motivated to actually get it. So that's going to be the first belief in the belief system when it comes to things that we actually desire, which is the point of, I'm bringing this up for relevancy. So then the second part is it possible? So yeah, you may really desire something, but then is it actually possible? That's going to be the key thing. Yes, sir. Baby steps. That's going to be the key thing. Is it possible? Okay, so yeah, it is possible. I'm seeing other people do it. Bet. Okay, so that's the second belief in the belief system. So we got the first one, do I desire it? Or how well do I desire it? Second one, is it possible? The third one is, does it fit in my life? This is the relevant part of it, because certain people set goals and it doesn't necessarily fit in their life for what they actually doing. Maybe because they got a family, or maybe because, like, let's just say you're 45 years old right now as a man and you got a wife and 3 kids and you got a desire to be a rapper. It's like, that doesn't fit right now for what you are actually trying to do because of what's going on in your life. So you got to be mindful of the relevancy of it. And then the fourth aspect of it is, am I capable? Am I capable? This is one that really kind of holds people back. Am I capable? And then it also has another part of, do I have support? And this is where a lot of people start to feel a little when it comes to those belief systems, because remember, they travel in packs. And we need all of these beliefs to be fully aligned for us to really achieve everything that we want. When we talk about limiting beliefs, it's in these packs. So within your pack, all of your for a person to have all their whole pack to be limiting beliefs, that's like a very hyper depressed person, somebody that's experienced super depressed. But most people, most of us, are packs of beliefs. They might have 2 or 3 of them in it. That's actually the limiting beliefs, and the rest of them might be empowering beliefs, but they're still running together. And it's not until these can get aligned that they can actually really propel us to where we want to go. But if not, we'll keep experiencing the sabotage. We'll keep experiencing feeling like we're taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back. We'll keep experiencing the burnout. We'll keep experiencing the mental fatigue. We'll keep experiencing all these symptoms of really our beliefs not really being aligned. So capable, do I feel like I'm capable of actually achieving it? So I know it's possible because I'm seeing other people achieve it, but do I feel like it's possible for me? Do I feel like I'm actually capable of actually doing it? And if I do feel like I'm capable, do I feel like I have the support I need to actually go out and do it? That's the part that we got to answer. Then the next part is, do I feel deserving? Do I feel worthy of it? That's another major one that most of the time holds us back. A lot of people, in some way or form, typically experience that one. Do I feel deserving of this? Do I feel worthy of this? I know I desire to be a millionaire, but do I really feel like I am worthy of having $1 million? Do I really feel like I deserve it? I know I desire having a successful relationship, but do I really feel like I deserve it? Do I really feel like I'm worthy of it? And why do we feel like we're not worthy? Most of the time, because of mistakes we made in the past. I did this in the past, so therefore, because of karma, I got to pay karmic debt and I deserve the pain that's coming to me in the future. That's what we actually do because we have this low sense of self worth. We have these flawed self identities, these flawed self images. And so that's one of the main alpha leaders in the dang packs is, am I deserving? Am I worthy? And that belief pack that runs around. Am I deserving and am I worthy? Them is one of the alpha leaders in it. And them, they really control the, because it doesn't matter whether you feel like something is possible. If you don't feel like you are capable or if you don't feel like you deserve it, you're not about to get it. And if you do get it, you'll sabotage it. It don't matter whether you feel like, you on a scale on 1 to 10, how much you deeply desire it. I desire it at 10. There's nothing I desire more in life. But if you don't feel worthy of it, if you don't feel deserving of it, those beliefs are going to sabotage you. They're going to clip us. So we got to make sure that we are aware of that. And then the last belief is, do I feel responsible? Am I the one responsible to actually change it? Am I the one responsible for actually achieving this particular result? Most cases, people are, that belief is usually intact. But sometimes there are rare cases in which a person doesn't feel that they're the one responsible for whatever change needs to actually happen. But in most cases, people know that they're the ones responsible if they're the one that's endeavoring to get something. But we got to be mindful of those beliefs. So that's tied to the relevant piece. So just the quickly, those beliefs that we want to be mindful of anytime we're endeavoring to do something and we're feeling stuck in life, most of the time we're being held back by one of these beliefs. Either I don't desire it strong enough, either I don't feel it's possible, either I don't feel it fits in my life, either I don't feel capable or I don't feel like I have support, either I don't feel deserving and worthy of it, or I don't feel I'm responsible. I'm the one that's responsible for doing it, or the one that's responsible for changing it. And remember, these things travel in packs. So we want to be mindful of our level on all of these. And anyone, when you're reflecting on these particular questions, anyone that kind of makes you be like, that's a sign that that's a limiting one. You gotta deal with. Because if it's not a limiting one, you should immediately be able to be like, oh yeah, your whole nervous system will respond in a way which like that it's fully in alignment with that. It fully agrees with it. Like I desire it. Yeah, I'm capable of it. Oh yeah, I deserve that. I'm worthy of it. If it's a any of that, that's circle that belief. Okay, that's a limiting belief in the pack. And then once you find out the limiting beliefs in the pack, now you work with a coach to actually shift those limiting beliefs. Okay, so we have the SMART goals that we were focused on. We got the specific. We got to set clearly defined goals. Then we got to they got to be measurable. So they got to be quantifiable results. Then we got to be achievable. So we got to be able to actually reach them. Then we want to make sure they're relevant. So they align with our life goals. And then time bound. We want to make sure that we include a time limit on these particular goals. We don't want to just, what I'm saying, say whatever date, but we want to have a specific date. Yo, 3 months from now, I don't know, it's August. So 3 months from now, November, I don't know what's today, November 10th, I want to earn this amount of money. By November 10th, I want to be, on this level of intimacy with my wife. On this, by the November 10th, I want to, you know, have my son CJ knowing his shapes, letters, numbers, and alphabet all in Spanish and Chinese. Like, give him a time frame a deadline for the actual goals that you want to reach. The second thing when it comes to strategies for self motivation is mental rehearsal. We want to get into visualization and using our imagination because the imagination has so much power in it. And remember that no one can outperform their self image. So we want to have a clear image of ourselves that's highly motivated. When I visualize my greatest image of myself, I put a couple of factors into it. I make sure peace of mind is in that particular image. I make sure health, energy, and vitality is in that particular image. I make sure loving relationships is in that particular image. I make sure financial freedom and abundance is in that particular image. And I make sure personal fulfillment, like I'm fulfilling my purpose in life, I'm fulfilling the assignment that God gave me in life. That's in that particular image. And I focus mental rehearsal on living that person's life constantly every single day, and I'm getting in the habit of doing it multiple times a day. On my best practices, I'll do it 3 times a day. I do it right when I wake up, literally the first thing I do. That's the image that I am creating, and I try to do it the last thing at night, and then I try to do it at least one time during the day. I spend a 15-minute span of just closing my eyes and getting a clear mental picture of the person that I want to become, achieving the things that I want to achieve. I see myself getting into corporate consulting. I see myself getting into educational consulting. I see myself on huge stage speaking to people. I see myself being a retainer for just rich, wealthy clients, that just pay me 6 figure or 7 figure yearly retainer, and anybody in their family that they need me to fly out and work with and handle and all that stuff like that. I fly out same day and I'm out back home. But that's in the actual vision. I see this. I mentally rehearse on this every day. So a lot of people are just like, yo, how are you getting up consistent and stay so motivated? These are the strategies. I'm giving you my actual strategies that I actually use, that I actually apply. So you want to actually picture the successful version of yourself. You want to mentally rehearse this particular person. You want to focus on all the memories that you've had throughout your lifetime that you genuinely felt confident, because it's this thing called excitation transfer. Your brain can't tell the difference between something you vividly imagine and an actual experience. So as long as you are remembering those memories of the past in which you felt completely confident, in which you felt completely focused, in which you felt completely determined, when you can go back in those memories and see what you saw and hear what you heard and feel how you felt, just focusing on it for a matter of 2 minutes, that same feeling, that same emotion will come in your body. So if you're focusing on the memories in which you felt really confident in the past, and really just see what you saw, hear what you heard, feel how you felt, it's only a matter of 2 minutes before that feeling of confidence will come in your body. Or thinking about the times in which you felt truly determined in life. It's only a matter of time before those feelings of determination start to really come into the body. So we want to be mindful of that. What is the mental image that we have of ourselves? Because we got to know that the strongest force in the human personality is to remain consistent with how it defines itself, and that none of us can actually outperform our self image. So if we got a poor image of ourselves, then that is what will be our autopilot. But if every single day we're rehearsing the image of ourselves, that's the best version of ourselves, slowly, bit by bit, our unconscious behavior will start to mirror that particular picture. Another thing is self affirmations. We got to make sure that we speak about ourselves that reflects what that reflects the image that we were just referring to. We got to use positive reinforcement. We got to say statements like I can. When those negative limiting beliefs start to come into our mind of thinking that we can't do something, or we won't be able to figure something out, we got to be able to reframe those thoughts. We got to be able, I can. Why is this happening to me? Why not me? I can't do this. Well, how can I do this? We got to be able to reframe those particular thoughts. We don't want to just let the thought run on autopilot. We live in a negative world where it's a lot of negative suggestions. So therefore, if we just let the mind run by itself, it's naturally going to think on just negative things. It's naturally going to think on why it can't. But one of the strongest things that we have is our ability to be able to control what's actually going on in our mind. And that's one skill, unfortunately, that we leave dormant. And then when a person tries to take control of their mind, they are having difficulty because it's like a muscle they've never used. It's like if you break an arm and your muscle goes into a cast, atrophy kicks in. So your muscle is actually going to get smaller. So when you take the cast off months down the line, you'll notice that the arm is actually way smaller than it was before the cast went on. because you haven't used it, so it's smaller. So then when you go back to the gym, you can't just go back to lifting the weights that you used to lift the same weight before the actual injury because you lost muscle. You got to drop down in weight a lot and slowly build this weight back up. And that's the same thing when it comes to our positive affirmation muscles in our mind. We're not used to speaking to ourselves in a positive way. We're not used to having positive affirmation. So we got to know that it's a very weak muscle right now. So yes, when you start off doing it, you may experience some challenges. You're experiencing a sales call and it doesn't go your way, and immediately now your mind is just like, man, sales calls ain't never. You don't want to let that just play. You want to immediately stop the track and then put an empowering thought there. And then the more we do that, the easier it would actually be. And then the more naturally our internal dialogue will just reflect those positive affirmations. And then we just kind of want to focus more on self care. And I talked a little bit about that earlier. Make sure you're kind of filling your cup. So the important things is we got to make sure we are developing a daily ritual. And the start of that daily ritual, we got to make sure we're pouring into ourselves because regardless of how big your cup is, your cup will run empty if you're constantly pouring into everybody else and not pouring into yourself. Another thing, also, we want to start the day with positivity because the first 5 minutes of your day sets the tone. So if you're in a negative space or in a negative emotion, the first 5 minutes of your day, then the brain is going to keep seeking out situations that's similar to that. So we want to make sure that we start the day. That's why I said as soon as I open my eyes, the first thing I do is visualize the Chris in the future that I'm trying to manifest. That's the very first things that gets my attention in the morning, every morning, without fail. And you want to get in the habit of doing that as well. And then journaling your wins and your challenges. Just what's some wins for today? What's three things that I did good today? And just keeping a dialogue of that every single day. And that will add the momentum. So momentum is like taking the stairs up, but it's like taking the elevator down. It is harder to build and it's so easy to lose. But one of the ways to keep it is by keeping track of your daily wins and just letting the positivity stack and stack and stack and feeling good of, yeah, I did good today. Yeah, I handled that business today. Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, I did what I was supposed to. So just want to do a quick little live talking about how to actually master self motivation and everything for anybody that may have experienced any type of burnout or just experiencing um, a lack of motivation and you're trying to get back into the groove or you're trying to get back motivated. I believe that this was a lot of value. Anybody else, just definitely reach out to me, either send me a message or click the link and schedule a free consultation to set up some coaching. I would love to work with you, enroll you into our coaching program, and see if we can make some positive shifts in your life. Beyond that, definitely stay motivated. If you're needing any assistance, again, with implementing any of the strategies from today, don't hesitate to actually schedule a free consultation and see if we're a good fit to actually work together. Change your life today. Y'all be blessed. Peace.